Good morning to everybody. Happy Friday. It's Daryl here. It's 6 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. All right. I want to talk about a couple of Trump's flat out lies yesterday in the debate and misrepresentations. All right. Talking about the 545 children that were separated, they have no hopes of seeing their parents ever again due to the Trump administration. All right. Where to start here? All right. Trump kept asking Biden, who built the cages? Who built the cages? Okay, the facts. If you go to any fact-checking site, any source of valid information, non-bias, the situation is that, yes, the Obama-Biden administration built these detention centers in an effort to hold families so that they did not have open borders, as is claimed, that they just open the borders for anybody to come through. This was an effort to have a place to hold families that were apprehended coming across the border illegally, to hold on to them for 24 hours or less, giving them a place to stay together as a family before they were sent back to their country of origin. That was the purpose of these detention centers. If you go to any of these fact-checking websites, that's the story. That's what happened. That's why these were built, not because Obama and Biden had an open border policy. All right. Right after Trump took office, he instituted the zero tolerance policy with his Keebler elf there. I forgot what his name was. Jeff Sessions. Zero tolerance policy. Now, the point of this was to, once they apprehended any families coming over, crossing the border without documentation, the point here was to separate the children and the families in a very cruel effort to make these parents choose between crossing the border or losing their children. It was a cruel effort to teach a lesson to anybody south of the border that was thinking of crossing, that you're going to lose. We're going to take away your children and you'll never get them back. It was a very cruel, inhumane, unchristian policy. Now, this was instituted. I'm sure we've all heard of the zero tolerance policy. That was instituted after, and they then used these detention centers to hold the children when they deported the parents. A very cruel tactic. The Obama administration did not do this, did not send the parents back without the children. If you go to any site, any fact-checking site of any validity, you'll see this. All right, now I want to bring up a couple other points. So last night, Donald Trump brought up this point about these 545 children, that they were brought here by very bad people. We've all heard that term before so many times by Donald Trump. Very bad people. They were brought here by coyotes and cartels, and it wasn't their parents, so it wasn't Trump's fault. Once again, all right. Well, let's think about that. Now they had this policy for 2 years. Now, just a minute ago, I talked about the reason for this zero tolerance policy was to punish the parents and to make other parents think beforehand, before coming over the border with their children. All right. It's pretty much established that was the purpose. Okay. So if for 2 years that wasn't happening, though, according to Donald Trump, the people coming over the border wasn't families and parents. It was coyotes and cartels bringing these children. So why did they continue this policy? Why did they separate 4,000 children over 2 years if it wasn't even establishing what it was meant to do? If these weren't parents, fathers and mothers bringing their children across, they were coyotes and cartels, then there was no point being made. The coyotes and cartels would just leave the children and go back home. So what was the point of it all? Like they said, the original point was to teach them a lesson. So why would they continue this for 2 years if obviously it wasn't working? It wasn't families coming here. What's the point of it then? So it's kind of contradicting itself right there. Why would you continue a policy and separate 4,000 children to teach the parents a lesson when it's not even parents that are coming here. It doesn't make any sense. All right, now let's talk about another thing, coyotes. Okay, now if this was a coyote bringing over a child, one child, two children, what's the purpose of that? Who's paying them? Where's the profit in that? If it's a cartel, what's the point in that? Where's the profit in that? As with any black market or illegal activity, if you're going to do the crime, you got to make it worth your while. Crossing the border over and over again with one child or two children back and forth makes no sense. It would make it a lot more sense if you were to transport 10 children, 20 children, 50 children, a truckload of people or parents or Mexicans or whoever the legal people that you're transporting. It makes a lot more sense. It's kind of idiotic to just bring one child over, take the chance for that amount of money and go back and keep doing that. It makes no sense at all. It's another point that makes no sense. Now, as for cartels, it makes even less sense. Who's transporting these drugs? How come there was no drugs found on the children, on these supposed cartel members? Again, it makes no sense. If you're going to move illegal substances, they found hundreds, if not thousands, of tunnels at this point. Planes, shipping containers, submarines, drones, all these things are much more efficient. I don't understand why a cartel member would continually keep bringing children back and over the border, get caught and get sent back themselves, but leave the child. What is the purpose of that? Usually when you're taking a risk, it's for a monetary gain. And saying that these are coyotes or cartel members doing this, it makes absolutely no sense. They're taking this huge risk. They're getting caught. They're leaving the kids behind. The kids obviously have no drug, no nothing. They have no value. So what was the purpose of all that? It makes no sense. It's a very crude, outright lie. And plus, when he makes up lies about this stuff, it hides what's really going on with human trafficking, what's really going on with the drug smuggling and everything. When you make up false scenarios like this, he's letting the real scenarios pass by unnoticed. So, just a few thoughts on how this whole thing didn't make any sense. You know, again, if it was to teach the parents a lesson by separating them from their children, and it wasn't even parents, it was cartel members and coyotes bringing the children over, then what was the point of the whole thing for 2 years? It doesn't make any sense, as with most of the stuff that Donald Trump lies about. Just takes a little thinking for the whole house of cards to come down on these simple lies. All right, I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a good Friday.